Good afternoon and namaste everyone. My name is Revandya and I am here as the moderator for this seminar and we'll discuss about positive psychology, personalities, major issues, advantages and disadvantages. The presenter for today will be my friend Bayu Putra and he is still young, 20 years old and still on his third semester. Let us begin. For this first part, I will read the overview of the presentation by reading the abstract. Since the beginning of the emergence of psychology flow, seen as a man filled with mechanical problems, this flow then sees the problem that exists in humans. That is why psychology that deals with the problem often referred to as negative psychology. In fact, humans do not just want to be free of the problem, but also crave happiness. Martin Seligman pioneered a revolution in the psychology through the positive psychology movement. Positive emotions associated with the excavation such as happy, kindness, humor, love, optimistic, and so on. Positive psychology is not intended to replace or eliminate suffering, but rather to add the treasury as well as to understand scientifically about the human experience. Seligman also reveals that there are three principles goals of psychology before World War II. Namely, the first one is curing mental illness. Number two is develop the potential of the individual. And number three, create a normal life, meaningful. Then after the completion of the Second World War, there was a shift of priority objectives where psychology is more focused toward healing mental illness because of the many war casualties. So this is the background which led to the emergence of positive psychology to restore three main goals that are not solely for healing mental illness alone, but also develop and make human life more meaningful. My friend Bayu has divided this presentation into three parts. The first part is about general definition. This part will mainly talk about the definition of positive psychology. Bayu Putra will explain the definition we divided into three parts: the main definition, definitive meta level, and pragmatic level. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. So for this part, positive psychology definition, you can see on your screen that we have three part for this presentation, which is main definition, definitive meta level, and pragmatic level. So I will begin with the main definition of what is positive psychology. Dr. Seligman and some other psychologists give a definition based on the kind of psychology that can represent invalid constructor to describe positive psychology definitely. Namely, life satisfaction and well-being life, for example, to illustrate favorably in the past. Flow and happiness, for example, to describe condition in the present. And hope and optimism to describe positive in the future. So the main definition of positive psychology is something that you can imagine in the past, present, and future as a positive side of yourself. So that's the main definition of the positive psychology. Then we are going to definitive meta level. So in level meta definitive, positive psychology means is how can one define good and bad happening in him or her life positively, so that she or he can make sure that he or she constantly evolving toward constructive. Which means in meta level definition, positive psychology is how someone can evolve towards constructive. They are evolving to be better person. Like when they have bad mental health at the time, they have to try to be evolved to be good person. They have to know their self first. They have to know their environment, and the most important, they have to know what happened to them, what caused the problem, something like that. And in a pragmatic level, what are known as positive psychology is human understanding involving the full awareness and mental aspect of active human beings to understand what causes something to occur inside of her or him. Both the event of fun or unpleasant event, then understand the process, including how its dynamics and how the response behavior as well as the resulting feelings. Hence, those who have a positive paradigm are those who recognize themselves wholly. Like in the pragmatic level, for the practical, they have to know themselves first before they can apply this positive psychology. Because if you can know yourself, your whole self, it will be better for you. It will lead you to a better person, to a more positive person. That's the point of the positive psychology. And if you have some problems, you have to know what causes this problem. And if you know the causes of this problem, you need some help. And the one who helps you will be understand what is your best solution for the problem, something like that. That's the definition of the positive psychology, and I will give it back to Ivan.
Okay, thank you, Bayu. And that's it for the first part. The second part is about figures of positive psychology. This is how Martin Seligman found and improved positive psychology. Bayu will show you the history and how the development of positive psychology through the eye of the scientist itself.
Okay. uh about the positive psychology. Positive psychology is a new movement in psychology that put more emphasis on exploration of productive potential in man. The founder of this idea is Martin Seligman. He found it in 1998, something like that. And now he also the president of the American Psychological Association, or usually called APA or APA. And on his conference, he mentioned that before World War II, there was actually three primary missions of psychology. First is cure mental illness. Second is make life happier. And third is identify the nurture talent and genius intelligence. And now, Seligman using his chance of becoming president to begin shifting the focus of psychology become more positive psychology. The formation of the committee bring the Seligman positive psychology system, in which there are other researchers and psychologists that involved in the project, something like that. From here, followed by networks of positive psychology, later became a center of positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, the first positive psychology summit in Washington, D.C. So behind this positive psychology is this man, Martin Seligman, and he involved with some other psychologists to create uh, this pattern, to create this new method of psychology. And this positive psychology is actually slightly different with the psychology as in general, something like that. And for this Martin Seligman thing, I think this is enough for the little bit of picture of him. I will give you back to Ivan.
And thank you, Bayu. That's it for the second part. And we will move to the last part. This part is where Bayu will tell you the focus of positive psychology. Positive psychology views on how to make a better life and see human as a positive person.
Okay, so in this slide you can read the sentence. Wait, let me read this. Okay. Positive psychology is scientific approach to studying human thoughts, feeling, and behavior with a focus on strength instead of weakness. Building the good in life instead of repairing the bad, and taking the life of average people up to great, instead of focusing solely on moving those who are struggling up to normal. The definition from Peterson at his conference in 2008. That's the focus of the positive psychology. And this is so an important point of positive psychology is the focus of discussion on how to view human as a positive person, so that people see not only the psychological problem they face, but there is a more important focus on positive aspects such as well-being, fully functioning, and mental health. So it's not only about the problem that those people have, but also it's focused on positive aspect like well-being, fully functioning, and mental health. So it's more than psychology in general, something like that. In these activities can be interested reconstruction of pre-perceptions and meaningful potential of each member of the organization in order to grow the spirit to work again. In addition, there is also another context in the professional psychology, namely the field of education. When the process of raising the motivation to learn using a positive way, then the result of achievements obtained will certainly be satisfactory for the environment or the subject itself. So the result from this positive psychology, the effect is not only for the person itself, but also for the environment. So uh, it it doesn't like the psychology in general where the effect only felt by the person who have a problem that release all the problems, something like that. But the positive psychology, the effect will be spread so wide, so like not the only person will feel the effect, but also the environment around them, something like that. So that's the focus of the positive psychology.
Okay, thank you, Bayu. And that is all for the three main parts of this presentation. And we hope you understand the presentation from Bayu. To end this seminar, I would like to read the conclusion. Positive psychology is a study made by Martin Seligman because he wanted to change the psychology paradigm from pathogenic psychology that only focused on human deficiencies. The study changed that paradigm. Martin Seligman targets the human positive aspect and empowering human superiority. He isn't just helping people to solve a problem, but to help them reach happiness that they want. One approach to handling in positive psychology is through improving the life of spirituality. Martin Seligman also argues that there are three ways to be happy. The first one is have a pleasant life or life of enjoyment. The second is have a good life or life of engagement. And the third is have a meaningful life or life of contribution. The emergence of positive psychology have contributed in putting new habituation in the way of thinking of man in her life experience to interpret in more positive by developing positive values towards life is getting better. And that's it for today's seminar. We hope that you enjoy and understand this seminar. Thank you.